Wednesday, March 12th. This is an end of the day SPY recap and midweek here on the daily chart. You could see we had another consolidation day. I discussed yesterday how we were at exhaustion risk to the downside. So it might need to kind of digest for a while before either, strongly reversing to the upside or continuing its down move. Yesterday we had a downward move that really couldn't follow through all that much. And today you can see we're inside of the previous day with a bit of a red bias. All that means is as we are 3 days into the week is that we're still in an overall downward bias for the week below the open, which is this purple line. If I go to the weekly chart, you see that we've come down and we're trying to see for this week at these pivots, can we reverse? And so far for 3 days, obviously we've went a bit lower and we didn't get an immediate reversal. So it almost seems like we're consolidating, ready for another push down to some lower targets down here eventually. But we'll find out if that happens. So now with the inside bar, you kind of have the opportunity for a failure. Either up or down, and then the best one would be kind of if we gap up a little bit and then come back through the midpoint of that bar, then we could be heading back to the lows. And as the week goes on, the longer each day it goes by, this bar you can start getting a sense if it's going to close red, green, or neutral. So if we fail up top and then come down and this bar gets stronger red, then you're almost expecting a little follow through into next week. It's possible we can start lower, fail, and come back up through the range. But in the meantime, if nothing much happens overnight, then we might start in the middle of this range, and we're going to have to play, opening price action to a breakout. And then, when I see an inside bar and I'm, opening price action in here that starts one way or the other, I'm very leery of that breakout because that's an area in a tight trading range where it could fail and immediately come back. So keep that in mind if we start inside of this bar. We want to see if a breakout, should a breakout occur one way or the other, does it immediately continue? So we could also gap, like I said, either above or below this bar, but at that point, again, same kind of thing. You want to see if a breakout immediately continues or does the gap bring in opposite transactions? So we'll find that out. But today, given the fact it's an inside bar and you're in a bit of a consolidation area, the intraday price structure was pretty clear in terms of what to expect. I discussed how I bought some, once I saw the opening bar, there was an economic report that had a spike up, but then the market wanted to start immediately down. So there was a put buying opportunity here within the range. You're in a tight range. So once it came down to the pre-market lows and this little spike that I discussed on a video, that's a kind of an inflection point. Be careful for any continuation. And then the market kind of rallied back up as expected. Didn't expect. But once you saw the green bar, I was able to take advantage of that buying Microsoft today. There were a bunch of stocks that came up, but I picked this one and bought it here at the low blue line. That had a nice gain. But then I discussed how the middle of this, first bar was going to be kind of a tricky area, and you could see it just consolidated around there all session long and kind of closed, came down a little bit. So we're certainly not breaking out to the upside yet in this market or any of the other ones. And on the SPY, I actually discussed how after 2 pushes up to the midpoint of that first bar, I tried a put trade here that came down to where it should have, right? In terms of just the next move, taking out this liquidity. And once I saw that green bar, I just exited with a small gain on this. I thought maybe we can get a push lower in line with the continuity of the downside. But once I saw it immediately not follow through, I just exited with a small gain here and just, understood that we're in just a tight trading range. So anyway, that's it. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Inside bar, look for failures, anything that opens inside of there. Be careful on breakouts that start one way or the other because they could fail. And, the more and more the week goes on, the more it looks like we're having a hard time reversing from these pivots, and an eventual, good trades will continue to the downside. But that's just the expectation. It doesn't mean things can't change depending on what really happens, with the daily chart here and some of the, intraday price structure in the days ahead.